What's up, Dream Media family? This is Zach. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we are out here at my home in Colorado, and we are going to be doing the next phase of my upgrade. So this is actually a very common application for us here at Dream Media. These open concept floor plans are becoming more and more popular every single year. So what we have here is formal, dining, kitchen. They're separate rooms, but really it's one giant room. It's one giant space. So I'm gonna be treating it as one giant space so that we can utilize it for various different purposes, whether it's music listening, movie watching, or maybe some kids shows, Disney Plus, whatever is being played in this space. I want different modes to maximize the performance of that source throughout this entire room. So let's talk about the system a little bit, guys. Currently, in the previous episode, we went ahead and upgraded from Sonos. The Sonos Arc and Sonos Sub was my primary source of audio in this massive room. And it was disappointing, right? Every day there was a battle for volume. It's either too loud or not loud enough. And that is the complaint that we get from homeowners all around the country is, I can't hear my dialogue, or, the level, the dB output of my speakers throughout my home is uneven. What I want to achieve here is even dispersion throughout this entire space. We have the brand new RBH 8400 soundbar, passive soundbar mounted up there, which now is delivering tack sharp, crystal clear dialogue, which is the most important thing to me in a space this size. With those AMT tweeters, you can hear every single detail, even sitting way back here 30 feet in the kitchen, which is impressive. But we went a little further than that, guys. We installed, in addition to a front left, right, and center, built into that 8400 RBH soundbar, we have their brand new architectural in-ceiling speakers, which also have 8-inch woofers and their massive AMT tweeter in it. So I'm getting really nice treble, really nice highs, even throughout this entire room, because the way we have it set up currently is front left, right, and center, and then we have heights left and right, and then we have surrounds and surround rears. So whether we're doing Dolby Atmos audio for movie watching, or if we're doing a mode such as all channel stereo, which is one of my most popular and my favorite mode for rooms like this. So typically in customers' systems, we'll program in a couple macros on their control system that they can toggle between movie time, music listening, or maybe a nighttime mode where we reduce the bass. Regardless, you need options depending on what you're doing. One common application that I'm going to be programming in is a cooking mode, which happens every single day in this house. Whenever we sit down and we have dinner, pick up the kiddos from school, we sit down, that vent hood turns on because my wife's cooking, grease is flying, and then you can't hear anymore. That thing is loud. So that's where we refer to your system performance and the ability of that system to perform based off of what's called a noise floor. When you have things such as appliances, or in this case, the vent hood or a fan, it could even be in a dedicated theater space, your projector. It increases your noise floor, which then you have to compensate for in some way or another, typically through EQ. What I'm going to be doing is programming into my system a programming change in my processor for my rear surround so that there's like a 15 dB bump for the rear surrounds when we're cooking. So there's so many different things that I'm going to be covering in this space. I just wanted to give you guys some examples because this is going to be my favorite room in the house and also the most used room in the house. Every single time we have people over, we're sitting here having conversations, entertaining, hanging out, and I'm really excited to elevate the experience in this room. So in today's video, the Sonos Sub is finally going. I have been dying to get some heart-pounding bass. We just did an event over at M-Wave in Kansas City, and the guys were telling me about the RBH theater over there, and they got to hear the new 21. I was down in Florida and got to experience the theater, completed theater that had the dual 21s. So I've been hearing a lot of infrasonic bass, really tight, hard-hitting bass, and the Sonos just doesn't cut it, especially in a room this size. So in today's video, we are going to be installing the RBH dual 12s flanking my room left and right. So we're going to have 48 inches of bass in this space, which may sound crazy, but the room is huge, guys. So with bass, it's all about really pressurizing the space, and you need large bass output for rooms this size. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed the intro and insight into the current position of my formal living room, dining, and kitchen. If you're interested in purchasing your own system, if you'd like anything from home theater, distributed audio, or outdoor entertainment, you can either shop at our online store or reach out today and schedule a consultation with one of our specialists. We do video consults, and we walk through your space and we'll tailor a package specific to your needs and budget. In addition to that, in the Colorado market, we have brought on a new team member, Chase William, our regional sales manager, who is going to be introducing smart home functionality to the Colorado region. We've already done several projects, and I'm really excited about this category. What is smart home? Automated shades, automated lighting, basically making the home work for you. So if you're interested in something like that, keep in mind in the Colorado region, we are now offering turnkey white glove service. All right, guys, let's get into this video. All right, welcome back, Dream Media family. I would like to introduce you to Chase Williams. He is going to be running the operations here in Colorado, and I'm blessed enough to have him here in the house helping me with this killer RBH setup. Chase, you want to tell him a little bit about what we're going to be doing in the Colorado market?
Yeah, we're going to be taking houses, whether you're building a custom house and you haven't even had the floor laid yet, or maybe you bought a house that needs to be modernized. Maybe there was a smart home system that's from the early 2000s. Maybe there was none at all. And you want to make it a technology forward space and really dive into the possibilities of the modern market. We're going to be taking care of all of that, from audio, video, home theaters, smart lights, smart shades, security cameras, cable TV integration, the whole 9 yards. Pretty much every aspect of smart technology can now be brought into the home mainframe and programmed to your liking for every day.
I'll have to say, I couldn't be more excited to dive into this category and really elevate our level of experience and take a more holistic approach with our projects, because typically you guys reach out, we help you with your killer home theater systems, or maybe you just want to buy an AVR. We're extremely grateful for all the support that everybody's given us from around the country. So now we're going to be taking things to the next level and really trying to help you out from start to finish and be there for you for years to come and support your systems long term. Well, I just wanted to add a little insight into Chase. I'm very excited to have him on the team. So in today's video, Chase is going to be helping me out with installing these monster subwoofers underneath the windows right here. And what that's going to do is increase my bass performance throughout this entire room. Right now we have a very, very small little Sonos sub, and it's not hacking it. I mean, yeah, it filled in a little bit. It helped out. You know, it's better than not having it at all, but I'm getting so in tuned and used to that deep responsive bass, like even up in the movie room. I have a very modest setup that's more like family friendly. We call it the ball pit room. And I still have two PB16 Ultras up there. So Yeah, we love our bass here at Dream Media. So today we're going to be laying out our blankets. We're going to actually retro wire this in. So it's going to be a pretty extensive process. And we're going to use a couple unique products. We're going to be using the unrivaled amplification from RBH. In addition, I'm going to be pulling down the AudioControl Pantages for now to drive the soundbar, because I feel like it's slightly anemic with the Cinema 30 that we currently have in place. So a variety of different things to tackle today, but at the end of the day, we should have a killer room. All right, let's get into it. All right, guys, so these are the subwoofers that we are going to be installing. We have the 1212 SWs, two of these bad boys that we're going to be putting, one right here up underneath the window ledge. They're very, very thin on walls, and then the other one is going to go right here. I'm just going to pan the room, guys. I mean, it's just a massive open space, and there really wasn't anywhere great to put the subwoofer. I was actually initially planning on just putting a 21 inch right here. Then I contemplated a dual 21, and then RBH came out with these really slim on walls, and I thought, oh yeah, this will be perfect because it'll be below the height of this couch, right underneath that window ledge, and you shouldn't even really see this one. This one over here, I'm a little bit, interested to see how it turns out and the visual impact it makes on the space, but they are fairly thin. I want to say it was like 6 inches, and we already have a couple inches here, so I'm assuming the speaker will just stick out like this and we'll still be able to walk through, and hopefully it doesn't make too big of an impact visually on the room. This is kind of a big boy toy room though. I mean, look at that 8400 up there. And then the other product we have over here is RBH's new baffles. They're making these baffles that really elevate the look of the product and are completely custom. So you can get any color you want. Like Kenny at RBH was telling me he could do a flagstone baffle to match the fireplace, which would be just crazy cool. All right, guys, so now that we have the units unboxed, we're gonna proceed forward with installation. Now, this is a complete and total retrofit situation, so we really need to be aware of all of the different elements that are in play here as we proceed forward to achieve this. So what we're gonna start out by doing is checking for our studs all the way down the wall and marking those studs out, because we have to run speaker wire to these subwoofers. Whenever you have passive subs like this, they're much smaller, which is why so many in-wall subwoofers are passive. Now, passive subwoofers require amplification still. You get a smaller form factor where you got a really narrow enclosure, which is great, but we got to get low voltage wiring, some 14.2 speaker wire that you would run to your everyday speaker back to that amplifier. So let's talk about that a little bit. We're gonna have to drill through several studs in order to get our speaker wire directly behind the terminals, because this actually mounts flush, so there's not gonna be any wiggle room. It's gonna have to pop out right there. In addition to that, we got to get it through our cabinet bay over to here, and I'm going to be installing it right in this blanket drawer. And then to go a step further, because I want to ensure that the equipment, that unrivaled amp that we invested in, lasts for years to come, we're going to be putting in ventilation. So we're going to drill into the top of the cabinet and ventilate that heat, dissipate that heat. as well as relocate an electrical outlet. Got an electrical outlet right here, relocated inside of the cabinet. And then, in addition to that, we're gonna be doing the exact same thing on the other side of the room and fishing the wire through the chute behind the fireplace. And then wirelessly transmitting the signal back to the LFE input on the Marantz Cinema 30. That may have been a lot. I hope I did a good job of explaining that for you guys out there. But these are the type of situations that we encounter here at Dream Media on a daily basis. And we have to determine how to overcome these obstacles. So I thought it was gonna be a really nice video to really go in depth and explain this process to you guys and show all the intricate details of completing this process. If you guys are liking this format of really long, super informative content, make sure to drop some comments down below and give us a big thumbs up. Keep us motivated over here. All right, guys, well, let's proceed forward with marking out our studs. Okay, so we know for a fact we want the speaker centered, right? Let's start there before we actually get those studs. So it's a 56-inch long speaker, and we got 114 inches, so 57 inches is center. You got a piece of tape, we're gonna mark out our center right here, 57. And then it was 56 inches for the actual speaker, so that would be 28 inches out. Okay, so we know the speaker is gonna live right here, all right? Now we're going to line up, check with our studs, where the studs are in the wall, where we wanna mount the speaker so we can determine how many we're gonna have to drill through. And then we're gonna have to mark out the studs over here as well because we need to get through all the way to this cabinet down here where the amp's gonna live. All right, guys, so now Chase is gonna be scanning the wall, trying to find where our studs are and marking them out so we can determine where we're gonna need to cut our hole to ensure that the speaker wire comes out right behind the terminals on the sub. So that's one. And there's our next one. Typical framing is gonna be 16-inch centers, guys, so you can kinda roughly expect that. 16 to 24 inch, depending on how your home was framed out. And we're gonna just do this all the way down because we gotta get it right here into this cabinet. And then we'll have to relocate that outlet as well. All right, moving along. That's nice that that one is right up against the stud there. This is the edge of the speaker. We could cut a hole here and drill through that stud. And then now we need to determine where our next one would be. So we're probably gonna end up having to do at least one blank plate, would be my guess. Right about there, yep. So we'll probably have to cut an additional hole right here, essentially. So we can hole here, drill through, and then drill through, and then our next hole will be underneath this cabinet. Still confirm the framing, you know, goes all the way over. There might be an additional set of framing right there for the window, yeah. And that's gonna be probably multiple 2x4s or 2x6s. So just mark out the beginning and end of it. So that'll be a challenge, to say the least. We'll have to determine the best route, but I'm thinking we'll probably cut a hole as close as possible up underneath here and drill up at an angle is what I'm gonna try to do. But we need to pull this out and get all the blankets out of this thing. You just throw them all on the couch. Okie dokie, and it's wood. So that's gonna be another obstacle. We'll have to get out the saw. And my goal is gonna be to drill cut a single gang hole here and drill up at an angle through that framing. Luckily, this home was framed with 2x6s, so we have a little bit of extra wall depth to work with. But this is the concept, guys. We got our work cut out for us, so we're gonna do the exact same thing, prep, over here next. Now we're proceeding forward on the other side with our prep work, just laying out what's center and where our studs are, just like the other side. So right now, Chase is getting center, and then we'll discover where the edge of the speaker is going to be and then mark out all of our studs. All right, so speaker is gonna live here to here. Center. Now we're gonna grab the stud finder and mark all those out all the way over to our cabinet. So we will have to relocate this outlet, or we'll have to just plate it, cap. That's probably what we'll do because we have so many outlets, I don't really need it. We'll just go ahead and take the plate off, take the receptacle out, and then just put wire nuts on the actual wire itself, electrical tape it up, and then just leave it sealed because there's no purpose to have that right now. And over here for electrical, guys, we got really lucky. The builder put one right here that we had requested for Christmas trees in the windows during the holiday season. So I'll just be able to tap off that in both locations and install receptacles down below here in the wood, which, oh, actually, we don't need a receptacle over here. Our amplifier is going to live on that side. My bad. So we're just going to be running our speaker wire over and then through all the way along the back side, drill through our fireplace and over to the other blanket drawer. All right, guys, so let's review. Edge of the speaker here, we're gonna wire cap that. Middle of the speaker here, which is roughly where our terminals are, we got stud, 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 edge of speaker, so we'll end up cutting a single gang there, and then putting a hole down here and drilling up through. I'm sure you got double framing there for the window too, right, Chase? Yep. So same concept on both sides. All right, guys, next I wanna talk about the mounting bracket here on the back and how we're gonna determine the height. So if you look right here, we have the bracket that is gonna bolt into the wall, and whenever you butt it up into the finished location and you take a tape measure, we've determined that
we have an inch on top that we're gonna have above the speaker.
We need an inch because it falls into that groove. We need a little wiggle room to lift it up and on. So we're going to be mounting the bottom of our bracket at 4 inches from the top of the framing on the window. Okay, so now that we have that question answered, the next question I had is these terminals. We need to determine how low it is from the top. So about 8 inches from our, accounting for that extra inch, 8 inches to the center of these terminals. Now how high from here to here? From the top to the center?
20 3/4.
20 3/4. Okay, so we're gonna do 20 3/4 and 8 inches to determine where we need to cut our first hole. So 20 3/4 from that side, Chase, because when it's flipped, yeah. 20 3/4 over. Need a piece of tape. Okay, 20 3/4.
Just in here.
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
Okay, and then 8 inches down. Right there. Okay, so this is where we're gonna cut our first hole. And then that's actually perfect because we can use that first hole to cut through or drill through our first stud. So we're gonna get right through this one easy. And then we're just fishing from this hole over to our next single gang hole that we're gonna have to cut right here. And then we'll proceed. All right guys, this is a template right here for a single gang hole, and this is just a hole cutter. I have automatic ones, manual ones, it doesn't matter. We're just trying to get the hole cut. But this template does assist you in, cutting the hole. Okay, one hole down. Okay. And then this one we're gonna leave, so I want it the same height as these outlets. Can you give me a measurement on that? Center of the outlet from the baseboard. We're gonna measure out on this other outlet how high to come up, and then I'm gonna butt it up against the stud, and that way it just looks like a normal receptacle at that same height. And down the road, if we wanted to, we could always put a receptacle in, but when you have one right there, it's not really necessary. The fact that the speaker is gonna be sitting right here and there's a small gap, I don't even think we'll really notice it, but if it bothers me down the road, I'll just patch it like we're gonna patch this one here. This one is gonna be utilized for the pass-through into the terminal plates on the back. So we're actually gonna put a pass-through brush plate on this one here. You got 6, 5 3/4? 5 3/4. Okay. 5 3/4 coming down here. And then I'm just gonna line it right up. And then down here, another single gang and another single gang right here that is in line with that electrical. Then, yeah, let's just move on to this next one. Certain spots. Okay. Luckily, it's the perfect place to do that. Yeah. Nobody can see it.
Why it's so. I couldn't see.
It's hard to get in there. Yeah. See, now you can make it even a little bigger. Try to like go a little out and up, and make it as big as possible so we can get our hand in there. And I mean, you don't even necessarily have to use the back box, we can bolt it in like that. And just have the wire, drill a little hole for the wire.
Let me see that real quick. Mark how much further I can come on.
Wow, Chase. That was impressive. I had to get a close-up on that ninja move. So that's what we were expecting. Now we're gonna try to drill up, but I'm gonna go ahead and just make the hole a little bit bigger.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we're gonna be using something called an endoscope, which just allows us to see in the wall so that we can get from that hole down there over to this hole. Let's do it. All right, guys, we're moving right along. As you can see, Chase is cutting our hole right now for our terminals, our speaker terminals. We got a stud here. We got a stud here. Edge of the speaker is going to be here. The other edge of the speaker is going to be here. It's going to be centered on the window. So we're cutting our hole here, and we're going to have to fish through all these studs all the way down, just like we did over here. So we're just going to proceed forward with getting it wired. All right, so now guys, we're just fishing from our termination location all the way through the wall joist, just like we did on the other side. As you can see right now, we've created some holes, and this is fish tape right here. Chase is working on trying to retrieve it through the hole on the other side, which it looks like he has just achieved. So he's just going to continue to feed from one hole to the next. One important thing to notate when you're doing low voltage work with speakers, and you have high voltage electricity like this, and maybe you see a hole where you could potentially run your line through that is next to an existing power line, don't just run the wire through that same hole of the high voltage line. You want to try to separate out the low voltage wires from the high voltage to reduce any noise that may end up in the line. Now, I am using some overkill wire here. This is some direct burial. It is shielded, so I'm not super worried about it, but I just wanted to point that out as a pro tip for anybody who may be DIYing this product here. All right, guys, check it out. We're making some headway down in here. We've drilled through up to here and over to here. We're good with our fish tape. So now we're gonna attach our wire and start pulling through. I like to use Romex a lot. This is just a little pro tip. It's actually electrical wire for inside of your walls for hooking up receptacles and lighting fixtures and things, but it's very pliable, yet it holds its form. So that's how we were able to really position the wire perfectly, is because you can really manipulate the wire and position it to your, tiny little holes like this. I hope that helps you guys out, but definitely installations like this are not super DIY friendly, and it'd be a very ambitious project if you're not a seasoned pro installer. All right, so now we're gonna attach our electrical tape and start pulling it all the way down through the whole wall. So now, guys, we're connecting the speaker wire.
And the speaker was still
All right, guys, so we're moving along with this install. As you can see over here, we got our bracket up on the wall. We did one drywall anchor here, and then we mounted into studs here and here. That is a 75-pound drywall anchor, and with the two studs, I feel confident that it's going to be securely mounted. And now Chase is working on putting on this brush plate and ensuring a nice tight connection. After that, we're going to proceed on to the other side. As you guys can see, repaired that earlier, even though it's going to be hidden behind the speaker. Still just wanted to make sure to seal it to the house. This one over here is sealed up, and then I've repaired this hole as well. Just used some little mud on it to repair the hole. And again, that one's going to be covered. This one's plated. We'll have to do a little touch up there on the wall, but not a big deal. And we're going to proceed forward with doing the exact same thing on this side here shortly. right, Dream Media family, we are finally wrapped up with the formal living room high performance audio system. We have been hard at work, several days of kind of getting started, working on some various things, coming back to it, but now we have completed this entire installation, and I have to say, it sounds absolutely phenomenal. Big thanks to the guys at RBH for sending this gear out. I'm going to be bringing on our regional sales manager, Chase Williams, who helped and honestly did most of the heavy lifting on this entire room. And he's going to walk you through and discuss some of the ways that he overcame obstacles in this extremely challenging retrofit situation. We had to drill through multiple different studs just to get the subwoofers on the wall and get the wiring up to the front. We had to fish wiring through our fireplace, pull down the TV. We had to actually splice in some RG6 wiring that was dedicated for a cable box in order to receive our signal from our rack room back to our new RBH Unrivaled amplifier that's driving our subwoofers. So some complexities to overcome, and I really pride our company on being able to problem solve. Whether it's a brand new construction home where we have everything meticulously planned out, perfect from start to finish, or situations like this where you have a home that has very little wiring or maybe even no wiring in it. We are the pros that have the years of experience in problem solving and putting in unique systems to where we can sit down, create a game plan, and overcome those obstacles and put in killer high performance systems just like this. So I'd like to bring on Chase, and we're gonna follow him through the room and talk about this system. Let's go.
Hey, how's it going? So this is a really cool build with RBH, and like Zach said, we ran into a ton of obstacles. So I wanna dive in and kind of show you how, like what we ran into and how we overcame it in every scenario. So up here, we have a RBH 8400 soundbar that's home run to the rack. This was the only speaker wire we had for this kind of retrofit here. So this guy was fairly easy to get together. Over here on our walls, we have flanking RBH 1212 SW subwoofers, two 12-inch drivers, 5 1/4 inch off wall. Super low profile, doesn't impede the room at all, and adds a ton of bass power. There was no speaker wire for these guys originally. So they have this blanket storage area here, which they can still use this one as a blankets, and we'll go over there. I turned the other one kind of into like a little makeshift rack for the tech here. But our speaker wire came through the side of this wall. This is all a stud pack here. So we got through the stud pack, drilling at an angle. Inside the, oh, we already have blankets. Yeah.
Sorry, the wife built it back up.
But the speaker wire had to enter this box. We brought it in back here to keep it kind of hidden. It runs around back, then passes through our fireplace into this side, which is our makeshift rack. So we've added ventilation to keep our amplifier cool. That runs off a thermostat that's connected directly to the exhaust of our RBH 2602 DSP sub amplifier. Probably our biggest challenge was this room was never meant to have a sub, so it really wasn't wired for it. But since the video here comes straight from our rack room over an HDMI, we didn't need the initial infrastructure that was run for a cable box behind the TV. So I dropped that RG6 cable through the fireplace, fished it into our box here, and toned that back to our rack room. Found it. It was never terminated. It was unused from the house construction. So it became our makeshift sub cable. And you can do that in a lot of TV locations in any home. If you don't have a cable box right behind the TV, you can fish your wire back down somewhere, your RG6, and use that as what's feeding your sub signal here. So we do have a ground home eliminator that is converting our RG6 into an XLR to feed this 2602 properly. We've got a big dog power surge protector. It's smart, so you can reset these remotes reset the outlets remotely. You can set this up on a schedule. You can also set it up so if either any of the devices falls off the network, it'll reboot those devices, get them in sync with the system. We dropped power off of this outlet here so we can keep it nice and clean, have all our wires hidden. And again, you can kind of see here how we got the speaker wire run. It looks exactly the same on the other side for the 1212 SW subwoofer. And again, we drilled up at an angle, got up into the wall here, got it behind the sub, and we tried to keep most of our drywall patches behind the subwoofer. So it didn't require Zach to bring in a drywall guy to complete this project. And yeah, ton of power in this room, ton of high quality audio, very exciting, a lot of obstacles to overcome. And really I want to highlight that if you want to add a subwoofer, instead of doing some kind of wireless configuration, if you have a cable box set up originally and you're not using it, great way to repurpose the wiring for a subwoofer in any living room space.
All right, guys, so big thanks to Chase for giving you guys a walkthrough on some of the complexities that he was able to overcome in this room. Now, the fun part.
Yes.
We finally get to fire this bad boy up and actually do some critical listening. So we're gonna sit back, relax, fire up our Roon, and listen to some really high quality tracks through this killer hi-fi system we have in here. As a recap, guys, I have the ability to convert this room or program this room as multi-channel stereo for music listening, which is how I'll use it a lot of the time. Essentially having the kitchen, dining, formal, all as one giant stereo zone utilizing all the in-ceiling speakers, soundbar, and subwoofers. Additionally, we have it configured as a Dolby Atmos system, a 5.2.4 system.
Yeah.
So our soundbar up here is a dedicated left, right, and center speaker. Additionally, we have the brand new RBH in-ceiling speakers with their AMT tweeters that we have throughout this entire space, delivering crystal clear high frequency audio. So these are going to be our surround effects when we're in Atmos mode, ripping through the space. So we're going to do critical listening on music as well as movies so that we can feel the experience in this space. Although it is a flex space, which is very common here in America, we're doing systems like these all the time, and in many cases they don't have a dedicated theater room. So we want to make rooms like this perform exceptionally well, just like a true movie theater.
Yeah.
So we have our surrounds at the back. We have our 3 fronts from our new passive soundbar that's powered up. Oh, that's another key thing I forgot to tell you guys. So I went a little bit above and beyond. We added an AudioControl Pantages G4 to the system, in addition to our Marantz Cinema 30, which is doing our processing, just to give a little more juice because these RBH speakers are beast.
Yeah.
So that's all powering our bed layer, that audio control. And then we have 4 more of those RBH in-ceiling speakers, 8-inch woofers with the AMT tweeter. So it should sound absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Crystal clear dialogue is what we're going for, guys, mixed with nice punchy mids and tight heart-pounding bass. All right, let's fire it up and see if it delivers. All right, guys, so the first song we're gonna play is gonna be Bell Bottoms, one of my favorite songs. This is actually out of The Baby Driver, which is another really good Dolby Atmos movie that I love. It has a lot of great tunes in it. But this is the John Spencer Blues Explosion. Let's go. I mean, the bass is definitely kicking. I can feel it in my feet.
Oh, it's shaking the whole, I'm not even touching the ground. And the mist. I'm just blown back by the clarity of these tweeters from RBH.
Yeah, that's the key. So everybody tuning in, we're not going to be able to play a whole lot of the track, but we're going to give you our commentary on what we're hearing.
Yeah.
So really with RBH, guys, it's all about these AMT tweeters. I mean, this is what's made me fall in love with the brand. I went to their facilities in Utah, tried to drop a link up here for the factory tour, but I got to do the whole factory tour, and then we demoed their theater. And when they were playing a movie scene for us at 130 dB and it was clean and not fatiguing, I was like, wow, I'm sold. Especially with a room this big. The next thing that we're fighting is room acoustics, which I would like to point out, we have installed some shades in this space, as well as we do have some curtains that we may or may not put up, but I had my wife order some curtains for acoustic performance in here. It's a good designer way to help with the acoustics, but I'm interested to hear that exact same track with the window shades down, because these are fabric shades and windows are going to be your absolute worst reflection point and really distort the quality of your high frequency audio tremendously. But initial thoughts,
Pretty awesome.
I mean, we've slightly tuned the room, but we haven't sat here and just picked it apart, guys. We're gonna really start analyzing this audio and tweaking the EQ here to come. But I wanna drop the shades in this whole room and see if we can hear a difference with the shades up and with the shades down. Keep in mind, that was being played in Dolby Atmos. I'll also do a separate track after this in all channel stereo so you guys can hear the difference. This whole room, not only is it surrounded in glass, but it has a window here that's open, has a window there that's open, and another window back there that's open. So,
and we're keeping that pressure. If I feel like I'm absorbed into the music when we're sitting there, and we're pretty far back from our LCRs.
So let's start out dropping the shades. We'll take a seat and play back another track. While the shades are dropping, I'm gonna go and turn off this little herbal relaxing thing.
Good vibes, good vibes.
The good vibe machine.
Look at this hem bar alignment. Something we love about these shades is, look at these bars. They're all moving aligned. These shades are the exact same speed. It just looks pretty.
It looks pretty cool. It looks pretty cool. Yeah, this is what I was, I've been trying to tell you guys in our videos is we're elevating our level of service now to where we're not only just offering the AV, we're offering shades, lighting, control, install, the whole 9 yards in-house here at Dream Media. Okay. Well, I can already hear in my voice.
Oh, it's way dead in here now.
It's so much.
Killed most of the radiation in the space,
I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but even just my voice, I can hear the reduction in reverb. All right, let's play the track again. You ready?
Oh yeah.
All right. Bell bottoms. Oh, I was gonna try to bust out my DB reader for you guys. Let me grab the other phone and do you have a DB reader on your phone?
The Android,
Yeah, grab your phone. I also would like to give a frame of reference as to how loud we're playing this. You know, guys, we're recording all this audio just on some basic lav mics. You know, it's nothing super fancy. So really a lot of the demo is gonna come from us trying to explain what we're hearing here in the room. So I wanna give a frame of reference as to how loud we're playing, because that's a huge consideration whenever you're choosing speakers. If you're a guy who likes to play at 100 to 130 dB all the time, you can't get away with some little dome tweeter. They're gonna distort like crazy and sound terrible.
Yeah, if you like loud music and you're someone that knows that you abuse speakers, RBH is.
I do.
Speakers are bulletproof.
So we're gonna sit back down. We got the DB reader right here, and we'll give you guys a DB read on kind of what we're listening at currently.
Right at 90.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, I got to tell you about the fabulous
That's really loud.
It's sad. Yes, it is.
Well, we're what, pretty much consistent 99, 100 dB right there.
Yeah, right around there. When I walked back there, it was closer to 95 by the camera on average. But yeah, from right here, we were sitting like 96 to right at 101.
So keep in mind, guys, we're not even pushing these speakers. I mean, they're screaming. They are screaming effortlessly. So now I'd like to put it into multi-channel stereo for you guys so that you can hear the difference between Dolby and multi-channel stereo, because it will increase the overall dB throughout the space more evenly. And for distributed audio, which we sell a ton of, that's going to be really important. And I did this insane setup in the backyard where that is very important to the end result that we now have.
The speaker setup.
Exactly. The consistency.
Yeah, we're able to watch the TV, listen to that soundbar clean, and not disturb the other people on the patio while they listen to distributed audio.
Or the neighbors.
It's a very nice and tuned setup.
Yeah, I can't wait to show you guys that one. That'll be coming up here soon. All right, so we're gonna switch over to music mode, and we're in multi-channel stereo. We're gonna hit it. Bell bottoms. Okay, so that was a pretty good one. Maybe now we'll like do one more audio track for you guys, because you're probably only getting, after we've edited it down, like 3 seconds max of the actual audio clip, because YouTube's copyright is so insane. So we'll play one more. We'll do some Will Smith Getting Jiggy with.
Ooh, yeah.
Classic. We're doing classics today. All right, so Will Smith Getting Jiggy with it, all channel stereo. Let's go.
Let's go. Dance floor go. I know you know. I go psycho when my rider back with a rider. Stuff in it. Give it to your friend. Let's spin.
So guys, this is the key, right? In home cinema, we have like a hot seat, right? In recent years, it's become more of we're able to calibrate multiple different seats and create more of a sweet spot for multiple rows. But up until the advanced EQ movement, we haven't been able to do so.
Yeah.
One important thing that we really focus on, and a lot of it has to do with the physical speaker placement. You can only do so much in calibration, but the dispersion of the audio throughout a space. This is a prime example. You got people that may be sitting way up here.
Or in the kitchen.
Or in the kitchen.
Almost.
Exactly. But, you know, we'll show you guys some paintings of the whole room, but right now we're just talking about this space. Just in this space, we have a basically 20 by 15 foot area that we need high performance audio in. And as I walked through the room, it was pretty much the same experience in every single position as I walked through the space. So now I just want to sit down and listen a little here, listen a little there, and then move to each seat and give you guys some feedback on the dispersion of the audio. See how we have strategically placed speakers in the ceiling, the sound bar, additionally at the rear of the room, all targeting this room. So one more?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Getting jiggy with it.
Here with this handsome kid, sick a cigar, right from people keep my heart, just bite it, just wanna leave you with it.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
So we're gonna EQ the living heck out of this thing and make it absolutely perfect. But I was just itching to listen to it after spending what turned into weeks, a little bit here and there between customer jobs trying to get this thing tuned in. And I'm thrilled. I mean, I was a little worried about the placement of these subs because I wanted it to aesthetically be pleasing, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
ideally, I would have just jammed these subs right up here, right corner loaded, but that's not aesthetically pleasing. The bass response is surprisingly well.
And we don't even have these bass, you know, through our 2602 DSP amp, we can set up the subs to respond based on the listening environment. And we have it set up for max infrasonic response for that movie experience. And it's still coming through crystal clear listening just
In multi-channel stereo.
Yeah.
So let's throw it into Dolby digital, Dolby Atmos, and listen to the same track. And that'll be our last music track. Then we'll get into the movie. So, movie mode, which does activate the full surround system. The only difference is it's separating out that audio. So certain music tracks now, actually almost all large production studios are recording in Dolby Atmos, which is probably a whole nother video.
Yeah.
Because I talked to you guys for days about where music is going and spatial audio and all of that. It's really exciting. It's changing music listening. And now that they have those tracks with video on the kaleidoscapes,
Yeah.
talk about showing off to your friends. You sit them down and put on Bohemian Rhapsody, you know, We Will Rock You through your kaleidoscape system in Dolby Atmos. You're like, this is insane. Part of the fun. That's what we do here at Dream Media. All right, we're gonna fire up, getting jiggy with it again. This is in Dolby Surround.
850 IS if you need a lift. Who's the kid?
So now you guys can hear, you're hearing just the dialogue coming through that center speaker. We're working that center. And you hear like the singers off above you. So it's a whole different experience. I love listening to music in surround sound, even when it's just upscaled content, because it really, it makes it feel like you are the concert. You are in the middle of a concert.
Yeah.
I think it's better than concerts, honestly.
It's way more immersive than being back listening to a PA system from like 100 yards away. That is tack clean dialogue coming through that center channel. It is right on the money.
Well, we're impressed, guys. I knew I would be to an extent. I just didn't know how it would perform in this room because this is such a less than ideal space is what we call this. It is not your dedicated theater room. But the combination of the shades really cleaned up the audio. I mean, I would have to say that initial scene or the initial song we played, it was clean, but it was a little harsh almost because it was bouncing off the windows and creating some reverb.
Our bass was loose.
Well, and you closed that windows too. That made a big difference. There's so many things to consider here, guys. And what I like to do in homes like this is, what wife is ever going to approve acoustic panels on the wall in their formal? Never. Good luck. So work with our design team to think about things like motorized shades, which will increase energy efficiency as well as reduce your neighbors staring into your windows at night, and additionally provide acoustic performance for the space. Another thing is curtains, putting in heavy weighted curtains, which I may still do because I don't always want to close the shades when I'm listening. And I do think the shades that I've ordered, there would be one here, one here, one here, one here, two there, and two there, would make a pretty tremendous difference in this space, just hearing how dramatic it was dropping the shades versus not having the shades. So guys, the next step is I'd like to play a quick little movie demo for you. Any suggestions, Chase?
Ooh, Ready Player One?
Sure. Ready Player One. We haven't heard that one 300 times. We'll do Ready Player One. Coming right up, guys. All right. Let's go ahead and raise up our shades and get a movie queued up.
Yeah, we have a movie time command for when Zach's here with his family and wants to watch it. That drops the shades, gets rid of all the lights that would disturb you while listening, and make sure that the AVR is in Dolby Surround.
The Sixer Fixer? I've seen all the walkthroughs for Twitch streams.
It's working. Yeah. No, if I was getting more enjoyment out of the system or watching your...
Oh, dude, I was living it.
As Godzilla was coming to next and above them, hearing and feeling him. Oh,
and it's such a wide image. He was coming behind us.
Yeah, it literally, you could feel him move from way at the rear of the room all the way over.
It made me turn back a few times. Yeah.
That was cool. Wow. I mean, honestly, I don't know if the first 2 music demos we did just weren't really that dynamic of choices,
Yeah.
but that was impressive. I mean, that sounded like a real home theater.
It was completely in my face. I'm not fatigued. It was pretty loud, but it was an enjoyable experience.
It was immersive, that's for sure. Wow. Well, guys, we are thoroughly impressed out here at my home. I finally got the upgrade I've been deserving now for a while. I was living with a Sonos Arc and a Sub, and oh my God, I love Sonos, don't get me wrong, guys, but I put in, yeah, I mean, this is more appropriate for what I do. You know, I get to see all of your homes out there. We put in these crazy systems, and I come home and the soundbar's going, it just irritates me. I'm like, oh my God, we got something in here. Especially because it was just so small and such a huge room to fill. You really need these massive 8-inch woofers spread out, these dual 12s on opposing sides. I mean, it all came together just beautifully. I hope you guys enjoyed that demo. Thanks for following along, guys. If you're liking this type of content, drop comments down below. Let us know that you like it. Give us big thumbs up. Share the content. We really appreciate your support, guys.